Welcome to Uxbridge Beat, the podcast where we feature the who's who of Uxbridge, Ontario. My name is Jennifer Neveu-Campsell.
And I'm Scott Campsell. We had the privilege of touring Thunder Ridge Bison Farm with owner Brian Arnold. Brian and his wife Michelle run the 100-acre farm located at Davis Drive in Durham 1. Many Uxbridge residents are already familiar with cattle, dairy, and crop farming, but bison farming is certainly something much less traditional and would require a steep learning curve.
That learning curve was something that both Brian and Michelle decided to tackle together, and now Uxbridge is all the more lucky to have this incredible family running this unique operation. So let's find out what puts the beat into the heart at Thunder Ridge Bison Farm with Brian and Michelle Arnold.
Welcome to Thunder Ridge. I'm Brian Arnold, and this is my wife Michelle, and we have almost a 100-acre farm here where we're growing pure plains bison. And it's just a bit of a passion project for us, and it's been a really cool experience just even being here in town and the amount of support that we get from town. So it's been a lot of fun.
So pure plains bison, there are different types of bison?
Yeah, so there's two subspecies of bison. There's plains and a woods bison. The plains bison are the ones that have kind of the big story behind them where we almost had them extinct. So in the late 1800s, we were at about 60 million bison between Canada and the United States that would migrate north to south. As far east here as Ontario and all the way kind of to the Rockies. And by about 1910, we were down to about 4,000. It's a pretty tragic story, but the cool comeback story was the efforts of farmers and ranchers and people that brought them back. We're part of this breeding program called the Bison 1 Million, where the effort between Canada and the United States is to get 1 million bison back in North America. Yeah, we're going through all those ups and downs and the droughts and, the consequences of that over the last couple of years, but we're getting there.
Do you have a goal date for a million?
So it was supposed to be 2028. I think we're going to probably push it to 2030 now. Between Canada and the States, we sit somewhere around 670,000 animals between conservation herds and ranched herds.
So why would you choose to go into bison as opposed to cattle?
Because they're super cool. Yeah, they're a really cool animal with a really cool story. And I think I was telling you when we did our little tour out there, one of the things that attracted me to them was that, they've kind of been unchanged for thousands of years. Sounds a little hippie-ish, but there's a real connection with them and the earth and just trying to make things a better place. So they're amazing land regenerators. And I love them.
Do you have a history in farming? Either of you or both of you?
No, not really. No. So when I was a kid, my parents bought a farm property, but they both worked. So they weren't into farming, and we had farms next door. But I think when I was 11, I walked my first cow home on a rope. It wasn't long after that I bought my first horse. And so it kind of grew from there. But
not really farming, just kind of playing around.
Hobby farming, yeah.
Yeah. Your parents didn't really, although they didn't not support you, they didn't get into farming themselves.
No. Was that here in Uxbridge? Did you grow up in Uxbridge?
Claremont. So not far, just a little south of here.
And I grew up down by the mall in Ajax. Well, not that there's a mall in Ajax, but I was a city kid in Ajax.
Now you're out in the country
Yeah.
with 100 acres.
Yeah.
Was this a joint effort and goal and dream, or was this your dream, Brian, that she jumped on?
You know what? It's a bit of a funny story, yeah.
He convinced me to live in the country, which was great. It was definitely the best choice for us. But then as we grew our family and we're living in the country, and I really truly saw how much nature was part of, particularly Brian and our son. And I started sort of itching for a bit more land. We lived just in Claremont on half an acre. And I thought, maybe we should get 5 acres or 10 acres and just have a few more animals. And as the sort of casual search started, I was like, well, maybe 50 acres would, and then, there's not much difference between 50 and 100 acres, really,
Yeah.
And then
You shop like that all the time?
Girl math, right?
Girl math.
Yeah.
Girl farm math.
Yeah.
It's like chickens. You start with
and this
5.
this farm actually was outside. We kind of set a search area. Like we wanted, we had a good set of friends down in Claremont. We didn't want to get too far away, and
Our kids
our
were
parents
involved
lived
in
in Ajax
sports.
and Pickering, and we're like, okay, But Michelle found this place listed, and the funny thing was that the real estate listing, it was a really crappy photo of what it was, but it had this description, and she really wanted to come look at it. I was like,
it was so far out of our range of both money
Price
and location, but there was something drawing to me, and it was on the market for a very long time, and I just kept going back and going back and going back. I was
and I
like,
kept
Bri,
saying
this-
no,
Yeah,
no,
you did.
and no.
But something kept drawing me back here for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. And then when we did come and see it, I was like, oh my God, like we have to live here. And he was
I was like, no.
he was like, it's beautiful, Michelle, but come on. And then, like kind of, I mean, the whole story is a very long and convoluted story, but amazingly, the stars aligned and we did end up here. He bought it kind of without me knowing after a very long back and forth, and then not for sale, not for sale. And then, he surprised me one day. He's like, hey, guess what? I bought the farm. And I was like, what?
Yep.
And then we all cried, and here we were. Happy tears.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to the bison. How did that happen?
Well, you know what? Like Michelle says, it was a bit of a funny story. So 2014, 2015 were a weird couple of years for us. On Michelle's side of the family, we lost 5 people in a very short period of time to different tragedies, deaths. And that was kind of the push that we were like, you know what, one day, we keep saying one day, but one day might not ever come. So that's when we really kind of started looking. I had always loved bison, but was it ever going to happen? Who knows? And we joined the Bison Association actually before we even had this place. We still had our house in Claremont, and started researching it a little bit. And then I'm not even sure, but we bought 6 bison before we had this place. And we bought the bull Bruce that you met. There was an opportunity to get him, and his genetics were really good, so we bought him. And luckily, again, stars aligning, somebody called me and said, did you buy that bull? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, can we rent him from you for the summer? I was like, yeah, because I don't have anywhere to put him, so that's perfect.
We didn't even own the farm.
We didn't even own the farm yet. We had no fencing, we had no nothing. So we did a bit of a trade, and he went to another farm for breeding.
Okay, so wait, you joined a bison association without bison.
Yep, just to do some research.
And then
find
bought
out.
the bison with no property.
And then bought the bison with no property.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Just because it was
you
gonna
wanted
happen.
the house, but he kept on saying no, and then he bought the house, and now you've got a place to put your bison.
Right.
Okay.
With no fencing, no nothing. So luckily, Bruce went to another farm. We got this.
This is the
place.
most up and down interview we've ever done.
Yeah. It's a
Makes
bit-
sense to them.
Yeah. Well, it didn't even make sense at the time, but things just were falling into place. We were like, okay, this works. So yeah, we bought them. First thing we did when we got here was start putting up some fences. We didn't have a house. We were living in the barn.
The barn apartment.
The barn apartment.
Mm-hmm. 5 of us in 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
5
Little house on the prairie.
Yeah.
It was,
3 teenagers.
Yeah.
it
Or the
was
Waltons,
fabulous.
one of the other.
Yeah. It was a bit of a wild ride, but things just kept kind of falling into place, and we just worked our tails off, and the harder we worked, more stuff kind of fell into place. And
So what were you doing before this?
so I just retired, actually, just this a
year
couple
ago.
weeks ago was
Oh,
my
okay.
1-year anniversary. I was a police officer in York Region for 32 years. So
And I teach full time
Where do you teach?
here in town.
At the secondary school?
Elementary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What school are you at?
At St. Joseph's.
Nice.
Yeah.
So somehow we managed to run all this and work 2 full-time jobs and build the house and manage the herd and
Take our kids to hockey
take
and
our
dance.
kids to hockey and dance. And,
And you're still smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
good energy
I've
here
got a
on
good
this
partner.
land.
Yeah.
There's very good energy here.
Yeah.
I remember when you were putting up the fences the first time that I saw the sign of Bison Field, I thought, oh, that's super cool. And the first time I saw them on the peak there, that was just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just beautiful. So thanks again for taking us out to see them up close like that.
Yeah.
I've been excited about meeting them all day.
Yeah, you know what?
It's
I
pretty
never
unique.
get tired of it. I am out there every day with them, and there's lots of times where I can just sit and just watch them. Plus, I actually really do enjoy watching the natural hierarchy of the herd and how it changes through the year. Like there's parts of the year where the boys are kind of running things out there, but for the most part of the years, there's a couple of lead cows out there, and they determine where everybody goes. And yeah, it's fascinating.
So you said you have about 50 in the herd right now.
Yeah.
And some of it is breeding and some of it is product? Or?
Yeah, so mostly everything here is part of our breeding stock. And yeah, we're constantly working on our genetics and trying to make sure that we're getting better. And there's a real push in the industry to make sure that we're just having bison. What happened was when we knocked the numbers down to almost extinction, it had a big change on the land and the landscape. And that's when we started having dust bowls, and even people back then were like, uh-oh, we have a problem. So how do we grow them? So they started crossing beef and bison together to try to get the numbers out there. There was a few pure herds that were still left out there. So now we're doing genetic testing, making sure kind of everything that's around is genetically as pure as possible, right? So we look for that.
Pretty much everything you get from a cow, you can also get from a bison. It's all the same cuts.
So we have a little farm store here in the bottom of the barn, and we sell everything from burgers to steaks to sausages to pepperettes and charcuterie sausages, meat pies,
and we have some specialty cuts too. So we do tomahawks or Thor's hammer or prime rib roasts, and we got the whole shoot and match.
Do you supply to restaurants or to?
Yes, we have a number of local restaurants here. Like Urban Pantry was one of our very first kind of customers that was like a commercial customer, and they've been unbelievably great to deal with. From their first chef, Corey, that was there, to Mike that's there now. They're just, he's willing to be creative, and, he's always trying to do something new and exciting and change things in the restaurant. And he loves working with it. So we have a great relationship with them, and that's fun for us. And we have so many of our customers are either foodies, or we have a lot of chefs, private chefs or commercial chefs that we have come here. And the conversation in the store is always such a treat on Saturdays, because people are comparing recipes and, telling us what they did with this or what they did with that, or how they cooked this and what a great experience they had with that. And for me, that was always energizing. Like I said, I worked in the policing for so long that I go to work and have a really crappy day or a bad week at work, and I come home and, you get to be here and you look around, it's pretty nice, and you go hang out with the animals and it's good. And then on Saturdays,
meet the coolest people, like the best customers. And we don't have bad retail stories like not at all, no.
We hear from a lot of other people. I would say our customers are very well educated, very into what the reason that they're here. Like I said, either they're foodies or they're coming for health reasons, and it just creates really intriguing conversations. And it's kind of energizing.
How far do people travel to buy from you?
Oh gosh. We used to have a woman that would come from Montreal every month, but Guelph pretty regularly.
Yeah. We have a lot of Toronto people, like downtown people, all over the GTA, even like into Kawartha Lakes.
Yeah.
And
So are you one of the only bison farms in Ontario, or?
Oh, no.
No, so there's about 31 of us in Ontario in the Bison Association, but we're probably the closest to the city for sure. But Uxbridge really draws a really cool crowd of people from the city. So what we're seeing is, especially in the summer, is people are coming up to do the loop, right? So they'll come up, they'll hit the store, and they'll hit the brewery and the cideries. And we hear it so often that, people coming out of the city, and they just love coming to Uxbridge. So there's an experience here. Yeah. And it's kind of nice
or
for us.
Or they hit the trails and then pop in here.
Yeah. It's nice to be part of that experience. Like, this town's unbelievable. It's been unbelievable for us anyways.
How do prices compare meat-wise? So if you're going to buy
we're usually about 20% higher.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now with the crazy prices of beef, for some of our stuff, we're actually a little bit cheaper. Today in the store, one of our customers that's come in for a long time, he actually said to us, you guys need to raise your prices. This is getting a little ridiculous. When do you ever have customers saying that? But that's what I said. We have great customers because they care. They want us to be around for a long time. And, he's a pretty savvy business guy. So, and like I said, he's been coming for a long time. So it's not the first time we've heard that, but it's intriguing because I don't think you'd get that in a lot of businesses. There's a great saying in farming that says you can make a small fortune farming if you start with a big one. And that's, yeah, it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. We wouldn't have been able to do this if we both didn't have jobs outside that kind of fund doing what we're doing.
Do you think that's typical now of most farming situations?
Yeah.
Most farmers I know carry a very high debt load. Very high. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's when you start to see some diversification in farming, where you'll get agritourism's becoming quite popular now because they need to find another source of income. I sit on the Canadian Bison Association board, so I kind of hear the stories across Canada when we have our meetings. I also sit on the board for Ontario Farm Fresh, so we get together too, and you listen to, even within Ontario, kind of some of the struggles that everybody's having. Yeah, it's pretty typical. You have under 3% of the population feeding the other 97% of the population, and it's not an industry that people are getting into. You can't afford to get into it, and you can't make a lot of money at it. So people are like, why would I bother? But it's a lifestyle, right? And it's something we enjoy. And I said when we were out there touring, like, it's one thing that we love is being able to bring people here and put them back in connection, kind of just, it doesn't have to be bison, but just ask where your food comes from.
I think one of the things you guys do really well in that regard too is you have a pretty steep social media presence. You're daily posting, constantly posting, and doing such a great job of it too. I remember when I first started following, and there was a post you did from the ATV, I guess, and they were coming at you. And you had the camera backwards and they're running at you. Oh, geez, I hope that machine goes quickly.
Yeah, and it really is. It's like, for me, it's one of those things I love. And we're finding that there's a draw for that, for people that they want to know what the story is, right? And COVID really, there's a huge uptick in people just asking where their food's coming from. One of the big things we kept getting here was, I don't want 15 people touching my food. So I'm not going to the grocery store. And there was a big push on people like going farm direct, because I know you've touched it, but that's probably the only other person that's touched my food. And I think the grocery stores noticed that too. So you'll start to see a lot of the bigger chain stores switching the interior of the store to try to make it look more farm market-ish, because there was a big push for people like going farm direct again.
Tell us about the event in Pennsylvania you're going to.
So, like I said, we're part of the Canadian Bison Association. And now that I'm part of the executive for the Canadian Bison Association, we're connected with the National Bison Association, which is in the States. I was just in Denver in January and made some connections with some of the other bison producers in the eastern United States. And they're having a show and sale there in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in March. And they asked us if we would be able to bring some animals down there, because, as you know, we've said, we're trying to diversify our genetics. So are they. So it's another pool of animals that you can draw from. So for the first time ever, we're going to try to figure out all the paperwork and ship down some animals and see what happens down there. So
are you going to drive them down?
Yep.
How do they travel? Do
you know
they travel
what?
well?
They travel really, really well. The funny thing with bison is when you take the sky away from them, they settle right down. So when we're handling animals, or they get into a trailer and they don't see the sky, they actually settle right down, and they're very calm in the trailers.
Getting them to the trailer is sort of a different process.
I was going to ask, you said you couldn't push them around like you could cattle. So.
Right. Yeah, so you don't drive bison the way you drive cattle. So we try to lead them. So we're trying to do things where, you know, and we spend a lot of time here trying to do low stress handling. Our whole handling system is built on low stress. So there's times when we don't get the ones we want because they've decided not to come in. With cattle, you could go out there and probably push them with the ATV or something and drive them into a pen. You don't do that with bison. So we hope that we create an environment that they want to come in, and then we work from there. But yeah, you don't force them to do anything. It's a big joke in the industry that you can keep a bison anywhere he wants to be.
That's like a teenage daughter, I think.
Are there other challenges that you can see from bison farming that other farmers probably don't experience?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones for us is processing. Across Canada and the United States too, getting animals in to get them processed and inspected is a challenge for small operations. You know, our bigger marketers like Cargill and Excel that kind of control the bigger plants, they control everything. So to try to find smaller abattoirs around that you can actually take an animal to get them processed, it's getting harder and harder. And because there's a demand for local beef and stuff, and again, cows are easy to move, they would rather do beef than having bison come in and wrecking everything in their facility, right? So that's probably the biggest challenge.
What would you say is the best part of your job?
The people.
And like the farm, like just being on the land and watching the animals and caring for the animals makes you feel good. But I do love the people too. And the funny thing is like, I never really wanted the store part. I thought we would just kind of do more commercial sales and whatnot. And I love it now. I love having all the people come in, and there's so many people that come in and I'm like, oh my gosh, so how's your granddaughter? Or like we're catching up, we're doing a lot of socializing, and it's just very soul filling.
Do you have employees?
We have one. We just have one, but the rest of it's just the family.
Yeah.
But our kids love being down in the store too, which is hilarious for 22 and 24-year-olds that have a million other things to do. Almost every weekend they're down there helping us because they enjoy it too. And people come in asking for them. I wouldn't say we have very many people that come in once and then don't come back. So it's kind of constantly building. And then people come in, they'll be asking for my son or my daughter, or my mom comes and helps. That's her favorite thing to do. She drives up from Ajax on Saturdays and she loves coming in. So there's certain people that come to see her. And I don't know any other business where people, like, we've had people go away on holidays and come back with gifts for us. They're like, we were in Greece and we thought about you guys, so we bought you this. And we're like, what? Christmas this year was insane. Like, your customers are coming in bringing baskets and...
But do you look good in a toga? Like,
no, I don't. That's why we agreed to the podcast. A face for radio, not TV.
What's the worst part of your job?
Oh gosh, when the chicken coop floods, I would have to say that's probably the worst.
Yours, yeah.
That's my worst.
Yeah.
I still get a little bit scared when Brian's out handling the animals, like on our roundups and that. I worry, but he's smart. They can be unpredictable, and that frightens me. But
you said they've put you over the fence a couple of times.
Yeah,
Can you talk to us about that?
Well, like I said, they're just very unpredictable. So sometimes you'll get, for no reason, some of those cows, they just don't want you around and they're going to chase you. When you're on foot out there, you always have to have an escape route. Like, I would never walk out in the middle of the field without the side-by-side being around or being close to the fence where I can scale that, because that's a recipe for disaster. So, but for me,
there's no warning signs. There are no, like, where you go, okay.
There's warning signs. Yeah. Okay. You have to be very in tune kind of with the animals. Like, you pay attention to what their body posture is and where their head's hanging, or if their tail's curled, and they'll let you know. But
they're very fast. They're very, very fast.
Yeah, they're faster than horses, right? So you got to be on your toes, and they can jump 6 feet, a 6-foot fence from a standstill.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
seems shocking when you look at them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, quite easily.
When they're in the handling system, so sometimes they get upset. So we have, how high are those?
8 foot.
So the 8-foot concrete slabs that form the wall, and they can be in there and they can jump and get their front hooves up on there. Like, they wouldn't be able to jump over it, but their front hooves would go up on it. It's quite, makes your heart beat.
That's a lot of animal coming at you.
Yes.
A lot of animal coming at you.
Certainly.
Yeah. They've smashed the tractor, and you do have to
gates.
watch. Yeah, fences, gates,
Do they try to escape?
No. Again, keeping them anywhere they want to be. You just try to keep them happy here. And a couple times the gates have been left open by people that we won't mention, but that's their safe place too, though. So they get out and then they're like, well, I don't like this. And then they'll go back in generally. If the whole herd got out, we might be in another, because they'll move as a group, but just keep them happy, fed and watered, and give them lots of room. And they seem pretty good.
We've had to do fence repairs when
The bulls get fighting.
So certain times of year, it's competition season. So they'll be bumping and fighting each other, and they can break the fences, but it's not that they're trying to go through. They're just oblivious of their surroundings.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if the tractor or the truck was there. They'll just go right through it. When they're focused on that, then that's all that's going on. So you better look out. So again, you just have to be paying attention.
So there are equine vets. Are there bison vets?
Large animal vets.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And
So they're very similar structure to a cow. They're ruminants. They're a lot of the same digestive systems and everything. But one of the cool things about them is that they just generally don't get sick. So we can keep everything as natural as possible here. We don't have to do antibiotics. We don't have to do any of that stuff. Now, if our animals got hurt, would we, if there's a chance they're going to get an infection, would we give them antibiotics? Yeah, for sure.
But that's not to be understated, because when we talk about the beef supply loaded with antibiotics and all sorts of growth hormones and things like that, that doesn't exist in your bison. So when we're eating that meat, it's that much better for us.
That's kind of a lot of I would say for 30 to 40% of our customers, that's the reason they're here. There's a lot of amazing farmers in Uxbridge that are doing things really well and really clean, but on the commercial side of the beef industry, yeah, I don't know what. I don't know. I don't even want to say because I don't know, but I've heard lots of stories, and that's just not the way we want to do stuff. So we try to keep things as natural as possible here. So when people ask, are we organic? We're organic. They're not getting anything extra, but the difference for us is if they ran into a tree or they cut themselves and then we saw it was getting infected, we'd call the vet and we'd get it treated for that. But no, we don't use antibiotics as a growth hormones. Or as a growth supplement. We don't use growth hormones. We don't do any of that stuff. So we keep it as clean as we can.
Hey Uxbridge, when I first opened Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness in September of 1999, we only had a small dojo with tiny change rooms and we only offered karate classes. We now have a 3,000 square foot training facility, and that's not including our spacious change rooms with showers inside Body Fit Health Club. We still offer karate, but we also offer classes in Aikido, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and weapons including Japanese sword. We also have great fitness classes that'll keep you motivated to take your training to the next level. As much as I'm proud of these accomplishments, our biggest success is in our programs for children. We're not just happy with kids winning medals, we want them to win at life. That means increasing their focus, self-discipline, self-confidence, and self-esteem, and not just their self-defense skills. We haven't slowed down in our almost 25 years of operation. We've gotten bigger, better, and we're just getting started. Now is the time for you and your family to get started along with us. Contact us today at Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness at okamikai.com.
Sometimes we'll get people from the city that just think that they can go for a walk. And that's always tricky because, again, we like to share it, but, we've had times where we come home and there's a car here and people are out walking. And I was like, can we help you? And they're like, no, we're just going for a walk. And we're like, nope, it's not a zoo. You're at my house, so you can't be here. And sometimes they're just like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, well, we're going for a walk. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like, you need to head back down to the store. So
that's not just unique for you. I've heard of other farmers that are dealing with exactly the same thing. People just jumping fences and going and trying to take pictures of cows.
It is an interesting concept that, people would think that that's okay. I can understand them wanting to see the animals, and it's neat. But this summer we were having a barbecue that we have every year, family and friends, and we're setting up, in the barn, and the band's getting ready to play, and then this Jaguar SUV pulls in and loops by the house and loops around by the barn and then does it again. And then on the second round, it drives across the lawn and then up the hill by the barn. So I go over and this guy's getting his kids out. And I say, can I help you? And he's like, no, we're just going for a walk. And I'm like, but you're at my house, right? This isn't a public space. And he goes, yeah, but we're just going for a walk. I just want to take the kids and show them some animals. And I said, no, we're not doing that. If you don't mind, do you mind just heading back out? Thank you. Like, I don't know who you are. So he kind of walked back to his car. So I left, I don't need any more. I started walking to the house, and then I see he's turning around and taking more kids out of the car and going, I had to go back again. And, so stuff like that can be frustrating. And that really deters us from doing much more because we do constantly have the discussion. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to share this with more people? But then you can't control who's here.
And then you have to be like Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Walk around with a shotgun. Yeah. Which wouldn't bother me. But
some people don't like that.
Some people don't like that. Yeah.
Your property borders onto some other homes.
Yeah.
So when you moved in and said, hey, we're putting bison in your backyard, how did that go over?
You know what? Our neighbors are amazing.
We have the best neighbors. So
that's great.
We feel really blessed.
Yeah. Very supportive. Very interested, and everybody wants to be a part of it too. So, I don't know. Uxbridge is a very unique spot, and I get nothing but great things to say about the people here. But
so you have your farm store on Saturday mornings only?
Yes.
Saturday mornings only.
And
10 till 2.
10 till 2. And that's year round?
Yeah.
Yes. We're just not open on long weekends.
Is there a better season to come to the farm store? No, it's all good.
No, the spring's always fun because there's calves around, there's babies, little orange babies running around. But we've tried to change up some things too. Now you can order online, boxes will be created, so you can just pick them up in the store on Saturdays. We're starting to do the farmers market now.
Yeah, Uxbridge Farmers Market.
The Uxbridge Farmers Market, we'll start doing that one. There's a lot of people that would like to come at a lot of different times, and Saturdays doesn't always work for everybody. So if there's a demand, we might do pickups on Friday nights if people pre-order boxes and try to get ready for the cottage, that kind of thing.
Do you see any expansion in your business at all?
Yeah, well, again, it's just a matter of, the infrastructure that has to go behind that. It's not like you can just rent land and plant a hay field. You have to fence it. You have to have proper things in place to be able to move the animals. And if there's an issue, you have to be able to vet check them and get them in and have another squeeze. So that stuff's cost prohibitive that way. But yeah, no, I think we'll be expanding here. Our demand is outgrowing our supply.
Definitely.
For sure right now.
We'll be expanding our store as well. We're looking for some new product lines, and potentially some events.
We have 3 cooking events starting April, May, and June this year, where we have, like I said, we have a lot of chefs that we deal with. And one of the guys that we've dealt with since we started, he's a very dynamic individual, and he asked if he could put on some cooking classes here. So we're going to do that on Thursday night in April, May, and June. There's going to be ultimate burger night, and he's going to go through the whole science about why and how we make burgers a certain way and what's going to make a great presentation and a great taste on a burger if you're hosting, that kind of stuff. And then we'll do the great steak night, and then just an all-around barbecue night with ribs and burgers and sausages and that kind of thing. So,
well, I know where I want to be those nights.
Yeah.
You said other products. What other products could you do?
Well, just looking, first of all, how to expand what we offer bison-wise. Maybe some more ready-made type situations. I don't even know, to be totally honest. We like to support our local artisans and local farmers too. So we're working on it.
We always look at collaborations, but the more we get into this business too, there's a lot of different opportunities. Like we now have charcuterie style sausages and stuff for cheese and crackers, which a couple of years ago we didn't have, so that was new. We found somebody that will actually do like a clean hot dog for us this year. So we tried them last year. People really enjoyed them. So we'll probably bring those back this summer. I'm just trying to see what people would like to see and how people kind of get into trying it. Like I said, most of the people that come and try it, they're usually coming back. So it's been a lot of fun for us.
You're saying they're great land regenerators. So is there a market for manure?
No, I can't imagine even trying to, because they're on pasture all the time. I mean, you'd have to be running around out in the field picking up manure, but the shape of their hooves and the way they process their food. So, they'll pick up seeds, and because if you see on the front of them, they have that long hair on the front of their front legs that picks up seeds through the seasons, and then they'll hold in there, and then they'll drop it somewhere else and step it into the ground. So they really start bringing back life into the ground, right? Yeah. There's a much higher hatch rate on birds that are using bison fur as their nest lining. So there's all kinds of stuff like that we're learning. Monocropped agriculture is really tough on the land, but if you can do things in a regenerative way, it's, we're carbon neutral or negative probably when people talk about that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. And there's more and more studies that are going into that. It's so much fun for me anyways, because like I said, our customer base are generally a fairly highly educated group that are coming with lots of good questions, and I love engaging in those conversations, right? And you'll find some of our customers actually even do some research, and they'll come and they'll be like, hey, I was reading this study about the bison doing this, and be like, yeah, I heard about that. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for engaging in the conversation with us today. Thanks for the tour. It was really nice to head out there and also meet the goats and the alpacas and the honking duck. He was lovely. Yeah. And Jack the cat.
Jack the cat.
Who still needs to come in the house.
I agree.
Not happening. No, it was our pleasure to have you guys here too.
So we do a thing on every episode, or most of the episodes anyway, we call it rapid fire. So our rapid fires are a little weird because we'll start off with really easy one-word answer questions kind of thing. As we get into them, sometimes we end up going on a whole new tangent. So we start trying to, it sort of keeps us focused, but in the end, we're not focused.
All right, let's do it.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Winter or
wait.
summer? Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle.
That's a tough one. Cats.
Okay, so let's make sure everybody has separate answers.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, we'll let ladies first. Winter or summer?
Summer.
I like all the seasons. I have no preference.
Which one's your favorite bison?
Bailey.
Bruce.
Why?
She was the most friendly one that we had, and she's one of the originals. So.
I feel like Bruce has just more history behind him in his genetics. So There's a story there somewhere.
Which one is your least favorite?
15.
15.
Oh, you both agree on the least favorite. Is 15 the most aggressive?
She's very aggressive. She's bad attitude. Yeah. But she throws great calves, so
yeah.
have to keep her around.
I think it's funny that they got the favorite and they know the name, but the one we don't like, just the number. Yeah.
Well, actually, very, very few of them have names. Very few. Bruce, Bailey, and Georgia are the only ones that have names, and those are for reasons. So Bruce, because he was our first. Bailey, because, well, actually somebody named her for us, and she was the most friendly. And then Georgia was a late born calf that we didn't expect, born to the one bison that our son purchased, and was born on our most favorite uncle's birthday the year after he passed away. And his name was George.
Brian said George is a lifer.
She's a lifer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are the only 3 that have names.
Do they know they have names, or do they like if you went out in the field and called them, would they even respond?
No, but Bailey comes like she wants to be around. So yeah.
It's not like you can pet her. Like she's not that friendly, but she's not scared to come close. Yeah.
How smart do you think they are? Like, are they rather intelligent or?
Yeah. Their natural instinct's pretty strong. Like when something's different here, they know. When the vet shows up, they know.
If he goes out or I go out, they know.
Yeah.
In the side by side, like they act different if he's not there.
What's your favorite restaurant in town?
Urban Pantry.
Yeah, I would say Urban.
Who makes the best burger? Kate, hold on. Let me qualify that. Of course, it's Urban Pantry because they make the bison burger.
Yes.
If you were not to have a bison burger.
Oh, golly.
Wow. Ground Burger Bar in Newmarket.
Ground Bar, yeah. They
That's
make
Newmarket.
amazing burgers.
No, I mean in Uxbridge.
Oh,
well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Burgers, like, because Brian makes such great burgers, it's not really something I tend to order out.
Slapdown does a good job too.
They do.
Yeah.
This is true.
And they'll have a variety of different products on the menu at different times. So
What is Michelle's best quality as a farm wife?
Oh, she's completely understanding and lets me do whatever I want.
That's a regular wife.
Yeah.
And
She's super supportive because I have all these crazy dreams and she somehow is able to narrow them down so I'm not going in a million different directions.
What's Brian's best quality as a farm husband?
Oh, his passion. His passion. You're so passionate about it. Yeah.
Takes a partnership, eh?
Absolutely.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, you can't do any of this. It takes your whole family.
Really, truly.
It takes everybody. It's
So
a
how do the
lifestyle.
kids accept this? So you we're gonna open a bison farm. Like,
Well,
Funny.
The funny story was our son, when we told him, he cried right away and he was like, "This is the best day of my life." So he has the same kind of outdoory passion that I do.
Yeah.
I think the girls were indifferent.
No,
happy to be.
Bree was excited in the fact that, like, she just loves being outside. She just loves
Country living.
country living. She loves it. Sarah was less excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy, still happy.
Yes.
But yeah,
She's not, she doesn't really like animals or birds
she
or,
really doesn't like
No.
birds. No.
no, but that's okay. She helps us on another level, helps in the store and helps consult and yeah.
Michelle, if there's somebody who is alive right now who you'd like to spend some time with and have a coffee with and just have a conversation with, who would that be? Other than Brian, because obviously it's Brian.
Oh, I've got the best girlfriends. Is that what you mean? Like friend-wise?
Yeah.
Or somebody famous?
No, anything. Yeah.
I have a great circle of friends. My gals. Yeah. I always raise a glass with them.
Mm-hmm. Brian?
I would have to say the same. We got a really great, diverse set of friends. I spent my whole career in policing, so it was a very kind of one-tracked kind of thought process. So I love people that have their own businesses. I love picking people's brains and kind of finding out what makes everybody else tick. I find all that stuff intriguing. So
And if there's one person who's passed away that you'd like a little more time with?
Oh, my Nana.
yeah, Michelle's Nana for sure too.
She's a very fantastic lady.
Yeah.
You'd want you have the same answer?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. She was she was a week short of her 104th birthday when she passed.
Wow.
She's
But-
got the best stories.
Yeah. But
Her
even
life.
when we were dating, when we were teenagers, I would sit with her and just ask her to tell stories because she grew up out in Saskatchewan, how they forged a life out there was beyond me. But yeah, she had the best story and the best attitude. Always supportive of
the most accepting woman ever.
Yeah.
When you die and you go to heaven, what do you hope God says to you, Michelle?
Wow. You made it.
Hey, let me check you at the gate.
Can I see some ID?
Yeah. You hope that's what you do? Because you're working right on the edge.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I think that's what he would say.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Thanks for taking care of the land.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
That's a tough one. I hope he just says good job. I hope we live in a way that's, whether it's the animals or land or the community or the people around us, that we're doing the right stuff. Like, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what draws a lot of people here, is that we're always trying to create a good environment. So I don't know. That's my hope.
What's one thing that, as you started doing this, now that you've been doing this for a few years, is there one thing that you can think of that I wish I had done that different, or I learned that too late, or is there
I
a
wish we'd
regret?
started earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had such amazing stories here. Like
but I wish the opportunity had arisen earlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had actors here. We've had musical artists here. We've had famous people here. And it's all the same. Like, we've had lots of NHL players here. We've done an NHL farm day training day here. And just, you can see everybody gets that same kind of feeling from it. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to always be able to share that.
Yeah. I think as far as doing anything different though, I don't think I would do anything different, because every time we do something and it doesn't work out, we've learned a better way. And one thing that I love talking about, like my sort of area of expertise, if you could actually call it that, would be I'm the chicken lady. I'm the one that takes care of the chickens. And so many people want to know about chickens. And I always say to them, hey, I will talk chickens with you any day. I'll tell you all the things not to do, because I've done them all. And then you can learn from all my mistakes and start on a better path.
You're the chicken sensei.
Yeah.
No, I'm really not.
But
I can tell you lots of things that have happened to us. Like, do not feed your chickens orange mushrooms that grow in your field, because they will all die from eating them. So I've learned lots and lots of things.
We've learned lots of stuff from you. One of the things about this podcast is, like what I was telling you guys, when we first started it, we were always interviewing people that we knew or had met before. And so this is great that you've allowed us to take this on another tangent. We've been able to get to know you. So thanks very much.
It's a treat for us too. Like I said, we're so appreciative of people in town. Like, it's such a supportive community in itself. And there's so many stories going on in town that it's kind of fun to be a part of too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Over the course of my life, I have stood across from a guy who wanted to punch and kick me. I have stood across now recently with jiu-jitsu across from a gentleman that wants to go and choke me and throw me in submissions like arm bars and things like that, or at least stay on top of me and try to score as many points as possible. I have never, ever experienced a stare down like we got from those two bulls while we were sitting in that side by side. No, I'm going to stay in the vehicle. There's no way I'm getting out.
More importantly, though, I was in the center of the vehicle, so I appreciate the fact that you were on the outside. You were that much closer to them. Thanks for protecting me.
If any professional athlete wants to learn how to win, just the psychological advantage over their opponent, they need to get to that bison farm and just analyze what that bison's doing, because I have never seen anything that stared me down like that. So it makes a lot of sense when Michelle says that she's a little nervous and scared and panicky over Brian being in there.
So with Michelle in mind, wow, what an amazing couple they are. And I think truly, although the product of the bison is amazing in itself, Brian and Michelle are really the heart and the drive behind why that product is doing so well, why their farm store is doing so well. When we did the interview with Kathy and Mark Christoph, and to be with an incredible couple who not only love each other very, very much, but are truly a pair and a couple and a partnership. To me, that's so inspiring, and Brian and Michelle have it in spades.
Rob and Joanne at Second Wedge.
Right, yeah.
There was another interview, same thing. Yeah, it's so neat to watch a team work together like that.
So I'm going to have to start cutting out of the dojo early so I can head up to the farm on Saturdays, okay?
Yeah, about that. So I'm a little nervous because I know, talking about Michelle and how she was, what's 10 acres? What's 50 acres? What's 100 acres? I have a funny feeling you get up to that store and we're going to have a really full freezer.
And that's just fine with me.
What's a couple of steaks? Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a roast. Oh, look.
Thank you, Michelle and Brian, for spending the time with us. You both are such an inspiration to us both, personally and professionally, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying more of the Bison products.
This has been a Kemsel Broadcasting production. For those keeping score at home, the Bison Farm will hold about a middle spot in our podcast expenses so far. We'll probably be spending more money there than at the Roxy, but they still have a way to go before they can match the Passionate Cooks Essentials or Rutledge Jewelers. Start a podcast, they said. It hardly costs any money, they said. Yeah, right.